Okay, alright. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Bandho moi sarvada namate moi sarvada namate Jara prasade bhai e bhavatori ajai Krishna prapti hoi ja hoi te Krishna prapti hoi ja hoi te Guru Muga Padma Vakya Jide Chikoriya Kya Guru Muga Padma Vakya Jide Chikoriya Kya Arana Koriyo Mane Asa Nana Koriyo Mane Asa Shri Guru Charane Rati Ese Utama Gati Guru Charane Rati Ese Utama Gati Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asa Prasade Pure Sarva Asa Shakudana dilo jai janme janme Prabhu se Shakudana dilo jai janme janme Prabhu se Divya gyan dire prakashito Divya gyan dire prakashito Prema bhakti ja hoite avidya vinasa jate Prema bhakti ja hoite avidya De Vede gai jahara sharito Vede gai jahara sharito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Janara Bandhu Lokenath Lokera Jivana Lokenath Rajivana Ah Prabhu Gora Doya Deho More Pada Chaya Prabhu Gora Doya More Pada Chaya Ah Prabhu Gora Doya Deho More Pada Chaya Ebe Jasha Gishu Tribhuvana Ebe Jasha Gishu Tribhuvana Prabhupada Patita Pavana Prabhupada Patita Pavana Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Om Padaya Nam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vastatyadeshatarine Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vastatyadeshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Radhanath Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha, Radhanath Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha, Radhanath Shri Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hey Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Parivrajacharya, Astottara Sata Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Shilabai Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya, Astottara Sata Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinde Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, तुलसी महारानी की जय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna and welcome to today's Sunday Love Feast program here at Sri Sri Radharadhanath. A very warm welcome if you are joining us for the first time and to our online community. As we all know, 2025 marks the arrival anniversary for Srila Prabhupada in South Africa. And to commemorate this, we will be watching a small video presentation.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadasya Jatu Annaya Ditaratasarthi Avigyan Sarar Teni Brahma Rida Ja Adi Kavai Muhyanti Ja Suraya Teja Bhari Midang Jatha Vinimayo Jatra Tisargam Nisha Dhara Sina Sada Nirasta Kokang Sattang Param Dhimai. This is a prayer offered by Srila Vasudev before writing Srimad Bhagavatam. He offers his respectful obeisances to Bhagavate Vasudeva. Bhagavate means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Vasudeva. He appeared, Lord Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva. Therefore he is called Vasudeva. Another meaning is that he is all-pervading. Everywhere he is present. So Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin of everything. Janmadasya Jataha. Janma means creation. Creation of this material world, cosmic manifestation, is from Vasudeva. Janma Adi means creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Anything in this material world has three features. It is created at a certain date, it exists for a certain number of years, and then it is dissolved or annihilated. That is called Janmadhyasya Janma Sthiti law. So everything is taking place from the Supreme Personality of God. The cosmic manifestation is also emanating from Him. It is existing on His energy, external energy, or it is being maintained by His external energy. And as everything material dissolves ultimately or annihilates, so after annihilation, the power merges into Him. The power, the energy is extended from Him and maintained by His energy, and again when it is dissolved, it merges into Him. This is the way of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. Now, the question is that the supreme power, or the supreme source, what is the nature of that supreme source? Is it matter or living force? The Bhagavad says, no, it cannot be matter. From matter, nothing is created automatically. We have no such experience. Unless there is some living force behind the matter, there cannot be anything creation. We have no such experience. Just like anything material, suppose a motor car, it has got all the machine equipped, subtle machines, but still the motor car cannot move automatically. There must be a driver. And the driver is a living force. Therefore, the original source of everything must be a living force. This is the conclusion of Bhagavatam.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Once again, a very warm welcome to today's Sunday Love Feast program. A gentle reminder for everyone to please take this time to check if your cell phones are either switched off or put on silent mode. Today's class will be based on an excerpt from the Srimad Bhagavatam and will be presented by His Grace Radhika Jivan Das. A little bit about Prabhu. His Grace Radhika Jivan Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami. He is a member of ISKCON and resides here at Sri Sri Radharadhanath Temple and serves in various capacities as a pujari, a spiritual preacher, a wonderful cook, and an inspiration to many. Prabhu also travels to different countries, namely the USA and Botswana, amongst a few, spreading Krishna consciousness. I would now like to welcome Prabhu to take his seat on the Vyasasan and hand over to him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So everyone please chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Gaur Hari ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So today we'll read a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam from the 5th canto, which is a very important verse, especially for us South Africans. And later on we'll hear why. So, Rayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nasna Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistuki. Everyone can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Chapter 5, text 1. It's entitled Lord Rishabdeva's Teachings. So I'll read the verse and read a little of the purport. Rishabha uvacha nayam deho deha bhajam nirloke kastam kamam arhate vidbhujam ye tapo divyam putrakayena satvam sudhyet yashmat brahma shokyam tu anantam. Translation. Lord Rishabdev told his sons, "My dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for the dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity and attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever." Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this verse, Lord Rishabhdev tells his sons about the importance of human life. The word Deha Bhak refers to anyone who accepts a material body. And the living entity is awarded the human form must act differently from the animals. Animals like dogs and hogs enjoy sense gratification by eating stool. After undergoing severe hardships all day, human beings are trying to enjoy themselves at night by eating, drinking, having sex, and sleeping. At the same time, they have to properly defend themselves. However, this is not human civilization. Human life means voluntarily practicing suffering for the advancement of spiritual life. There is, of course, suffering in the lives of animals and plants, which are sufferings due to their past misdeeds. However, human beings should voluntarily accept suffering in the form of austerities and penances in order to attain the divine life. After attaining the divine life, one can enjoy happiness eternally. After all, every living entity is trying to enjoy happiness, but as long as one is encaged in the material body, he has to suffer different kinds of misery. The highest sense is present in the human form. We should act according to superior advice in order to attain eternal happiness and go back to Godhead. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ulmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Satadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pascheta Deshatarine Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patita Nam Pabinebhyo Vaishnavpeyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Everyone, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Lord Rishabhdev speaks, he tells his sons, my dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for the dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever. So by the mercy of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, we have the good fortune of hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Originally the Vedic philosophy, Vedic knowledge, Vedic holy books is presented or is coming down in oral tradition from guru to disciple. There was no need for books because the students or the disciples were so intelligent that they could understand everything that the guru was saying, the knowledge that was imparted by the guru. But 5,000 years ago, at the advent of this age of Kali, the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, there was a need to put the Vedic knowledge into writing. And therefore Lord Krishna, He appears as an empowered incarnation, a Shakti Vesh avatar to carry out a specific function. So Lord Krishna appears as Srila Vyasadeva, who is the literary incarnation of Lord Krishna. Seeing the poor condition of us, the living beings, the human beings especially, we have short lives, we have poor memories, we are lazy, we are misguided, we are very quarrelsome, we are actually fighting all the time with each other. So therefore by the mercy of Lord Krishna, He appears as Srila Vyasadeva and He puts all this Vedic knowledge into writing. So there was one Vedic book called the Atharva Veda, and Srila Vyasadeva, he further expanded that into the Rig, Sama and Yajur Vedas, and then he compiled many other Vedic literatures like the Puranas and the Upanishads. So in this way we are able to get the Vedas in writing. So Srila Vyasadeva, after compiling all these books of knowledge, he didn't feel satisfied. He felt incomplete. And by the mercy of Vyasadeva's Guru, Srila Narada Muni, Narada Muni explained to him that now you'll have to totally glorify and explain Lord Krishna. So after compiling the Vedanta Sutras, then Srila Vyasadeva compiles this Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is known as the Bhagavat Purana or Mahapurana. There are 18 Puranas. And the Puranas deal with the different topics, especially worship of the demigods and worship of Lord Krishna and His different incarnations. And there are 6 Puranas for those who are in the mode of ignorance. There are 6 Puranas for those who are in the mode of passion. There are 5 Puranas for those who are in the mode of goodness. And there's one Purana which is called the Amala Purana, which is, Amala means spotless. And this Amala Purana is the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is for us who are trying to get out of this material world. So we are fortunate in 1922 when our Guru Srila Prabhupada first met his Guru Srila Bhaktisiddhanta at Ultadanga Junction in Calcutta. At the very first meeting, after Srila Prabhupada offered obeisances to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and he was getting up, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, you along with Srila Prabhupada's friend, Narendra Malik, he said, you are young, intelligent, educated boys. You should spread this message of Lord Chaitanya to the Western world. Of course, Prabhupada at that time, he was a follower of Mahatma Gandhi. And he said that no one will listen to our message because India is a dependent country. First, India must become free from British rule. And then, we'll have a good chance of spreading this message to the Western world. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, no, this Krishna consciousness, this message of Lord Chaitanya, message of Lord Krishna is beyond politics. And it's an emergency. So Srila Prabhupada took this as his first instruction very seriously. And finally, in 1965, of course, Prabhupada was married. He was a pharmacist by profession. He retired from family life in 1950. and he went to live in Vrindavan, in the Radha Damodar temple. And there he began to translate the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in 1965, after he completed the first canto in 3 parts, Srila Prabhupada went to America. And from 1965 to November 1977, when Srila Prabhupada passed away, he would get up every night around midnight and 1 o'clock, and he would translate the Srimad Bhagavatam for our benefit. And imagine from the age of 70 to 81, old man getting up at midnight and translating this Srimad Bhagavatam from Sanskrit to English. So this is how we are able to read the Srimad Bhagavatam. So today we've read this verse. Lord Rishabdev is speaking, or is teaching his sons. So this 5th canto, from the very beginning up to this point, we hear very, very saintly kings. In the beginning we have Priyavrata, King Priyavrata, or Maharaj Priyavrata was a very, very saintly king. And he had 10 sons. So when he retired and he was heading north to the Himalayas for self-realization, his eldest son, Agnidra, became the ruler. And in this way, when Agnidra went back to the heavenly planets to be with his wife, his eldest son, Nabi, became the king of Jambu Dweep, which is this earth planet. And in this way, King Nabi also desired to have sons. So, along with his wife, King Nabi, along with his wife Meru Devi, they began to perform severe austerities and penances, and along with that, they began to worship Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is the 4-armed form of Lord Krishna. So, being pleased with Nabi and Meru Devi, Lord Vishnu appeared at their sacrifices. And in this way, Lord Vishnu was very pleased, and Nabi and Meru Devi began to pray to Lord Vishnu, and they desired to have a son just like Lord Vishnu. So in this way, Lord Vishnu agreed, and he appeared in the womb of Meru Devi. And this is how Lord Vishnu appears as an incarnation, as the incarnation of Lord Rishabdev. He was born of King Nabi and Meru Devi. And when this child was born, he was so beautiful. He had super excellent attributes and characteristics. So they named him Rishab, which means the best. So this is how he's got the name Rishabdev. So in turn, King Rishabdev, or at least Rishabdev, became the next king after his father went to perform austerities and penances. So this verse that we've read is Lord Rishabdev, after touring the earth planet, he came to a very holy place where there was some gathering of saintly persons. So at this place they stopped, and Lord Rishabdev began to instruct his sons on Krishna consciousness, especially in terms of leadership, because his sons will become the next rulers of this earth planet. So in this verse we've read, it's the first instruction, the first verse, the first teaching of Rishabdev. And he's instructing his sons how not to waste this rare human form of life. Prabhupada writes in his purport, in this verse, Lord Rishabdev tells his sons about the importance of human life. The word Deha Bhak refers to anyone who accepts a material body. The living entities who is awarded the human form must act differently from the animals. Animals and human beings are doing the same thing, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So if a human being does not use his life to cultivate Krishna consciousness or God consciousness, Prabhupada said he is like a polished animal. Why? The human beings will eat at home or in a restaurant, in a nice place. Animals will pick up something from the ground and eat. Human beings will defend with their atomic bombs and guns, and an animal will defend with its claws. You will sleep in a nice apartment, the animal will sleep out anywhere where it can find a place to rest. And the same with sex life, you will be more discreet, but the animal will do it out anyway. So if a human being doesn't use this rare human form of life to cultivate Krishna consciousness, he is like a polished animal. So Prabhupada is warning us, animals like dogs and hogs enjoy sense gratification by eating stool. After undergoing severe hardships all day, human beings are trying to enjoy themselves at night by eating, drinking, having sex and sleeping. At the same time, they have to properly defend themselves. However, this is not human civilization. Prabhupada said, this is not human civilization. Human life means voluntarily practicing suffering for advancement in spiritual life. There is, of course, suffering in the lives of animals and plants, which are suffering due to their past misdeeds. However, human beings should voluntarily accept suffering in the form of austerities and penances in order to attain the divine life. So we are getting instruction, we are getting guidance. First we have to distinguish ourselves from animals. And here we are finding out if we're doing the same things that animals are doing, we are like animals. Prabhupada continues, after attaining the divine life, one can enjoy happiness eternally. After all, every living entity is trying to enjoy happiness, but as long as one is encaged in the material body, he has to suffer different kinds of misery. A higher sense is present in the human form. We should act according to superior advice. This is another instruction for us. We should act according to superior advice in order to attain eternal happiness and go back home, back to Godhead. So the first point again is to understand we are not these bodies. As we sing, as we are reading, as long as one is encaged in the material body, that means the Atma or the soul is encaged in this body. And this body is just a covering for this soul, just like these clothes cover this body. So when we understand this, then we can come on to the human form of life, then we can try and engage in devotional service to Lord Krishna. So if we don't understand this point that we are not these bodies, we are the soul living in this body, there's no chance of making spiritual advancement. We are encaged. So we have to rise above this, and in this way we can raise our consciousness. So we are very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada came to South Africa in 1975, and he spent around 19 days in South Africa, first in Durban and then in Johannesburg. So I'll read an excerpt from a book called Mission in the Service of His Divine Grace. It's a book written by His Grace Rida Das Adhikari. His Grace Rida Das Adhikari, he was born here in South Africa in 1949, and in 1954 his parents decided to leave South Africa and relocate to London. So this is how he ended up in London. And in his youth, he was traveling all over the world. Up to 1970-71, he was traveling on a ship in different places in the world. And in 1972, he joined the Hare Krishna movement in Vancouver, Canada. And immediately, maybe within a few months of him joining, he was initiated by Srila Prabhupada. So, Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai. So, His Grace Sridhar Prabhu, he joined in 1972, and around 1975, at the Mayapur festival in Mayapur, India, he met Pushta Krishna Swami, who was a young American Swami, and whom Prabhupada sent to South Africa after Shruti Prabhu. You may have heard and seen Shruti Prabhu about a month ago, who came for the celebrations. Shruti Prabhu, along with Rishi Kumar Swami, were the first two Hare Krishna devotees to come to South Africa. And Shruti Prabhu, somehow he had to leave South Africa, and when he left, then Srila Prabhupada sent Pushta Krishna Swami. So at the Mayapur festival, after Pushta Krishna Swami heard about His Grace Sridhar Prabhu, he asked him to come to South Africa, because he was South African, born in South Africa, and he was an excellent book distributor. So he was asked to come and help in that way in distributing books. So this book, His Grace Sridhar Prabhu was very fortunate. He had a very special service. After a struggle, Srila Prabhupada finally got a visa to come to South Africa in October 1975. And due to the political situation at that time in South Africa, the Western devotees, the American and the European devotees, they were not asked to go to the Durban airport to receive Prabhupada, because it would create a situation with the South African government and things like that. So they sent Sridhar Prabhu. So Sridhar Prabhu received Srila Prabhupada at the Durban airport when he came from Mauritius to South Africa in 5th October 1975. And in this way, he was able to arrange programs and for Srila Prabhupada. So after the programs in Durban, Srila Prabhupada went to Johannesburg, and the first center of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness was a house in Yeovil, Johannesburg, Muller Street, Johannesburg, which was close to Hillbrow at that time. And and Prabhupada spoke in different places and he also spoke at the Wits University, the University of Wits Watersrand in Johannesburg, probably the biggest university in South Africa. And I'm going to read an excerpt from Prabhupada's lecture, and we'll see how this verse, Prabhupada actually speaks from this verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Johannesburg, 20th and 22nd October 1975. This was probably the last few days of Srila Prabhupada in South Africa, and he's speaking at the Wits University in Johannesburg. Sridhar Prabhu recalls the great hall auditorium at the University of Wits Watersrand was one of the most prestigious locations that we had arranged for Srila Prabhupada. But his lecture took us by surprise. Up till then, Srila Prabhupada had lectured on the Bhagavad Gita without fail. We had advertised the Bhagavad Gita lecture on posters and leaflets all over the city. That day, an air freight package had arrived from Los Angeles with the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada was focused that most of the day he had sat reading the new publication. He had smiled and laughed at the artistic plates in the book, illustrating the punishment suffered by sinful persons who harm devotees. Srila Prabhupada was so enlivened that he began to lecture in the hall that night by quoting this new volume of Srimad Bhagavatam. He explained that God realization could not be understood without performing austerity. As Rishabdev states in that work, Prabhupada began preaching in such a fierce way, it took us completely by surprise. The tension was rising. The lecture grew more and more intense, up to a point where Prabhupada was like a lion roaring at the audience. He was insistent that the real meaning of yoga is to perform austerity, repeating this over and over again. He stressed how important it is to carry, how it is not to carry on like cats and dogs. But then, like a bolt from the blue, he said, this is very important. Prabhupada says, this black and white business is nonsense. It is in the bodily concept of life. As he said that, I broke out into a sweat, envisioning the police raiding the hall, which was packed predominantly with whites. Imagine this in 1975, in the middle of what was known as the apartheid era. The hall was filled with over 500 people, predominantly white. They're coming to listen to an Indian guru. The hall was predominantly with whites, and there were over 500 people present. As Prabhupada continued, I reflected how Mohandas Gandhi was imprisoned in South Africa in 1909 and numerous times subsequently for his passive resistance. However, Prabhupada knew time, place, and circumstance. The talk was appropriate for mainly the European audience. The basic mood of the lecture was pertaining to Rishabdev and how he instructed his sons in the human life, that human life is meant for austerities. He went on to explain how this human birth facilitates God realization, which distinguishes between human life and animal life. These very important points were the theme of his lecture. So we'll just read a few excerpts from the lecture. Prabhupada starts. This is a verse number 1, 5th canto, 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are publishing Srimad Bhagavatam, 12 cantos in 60 volumes, and this is the latest volume. We just received today. Therefore, I am taking advantage of this volume and reciting one verse. This is in connection with Rishabdev's instructions to his sons. Rishabdev was a king and he had 100 sons. All of them, the eldest was Maharaj Bharata, under whose name India is called Bharatvarsha since the time of Maharaj Bharata. So this is the name of India, Bharatvarsha or Bharat. The name India was given by the British due to the Indus Valley civilization. So also this term Hindu is a misnomer. It's not found anywhere in the Vedic holy books or in the Sanskrit language. It's a name given by Mughals. Over 1,000 years ago, some of the Mughal countries like Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, they were experiencing severe drought. So they came towards India looking for water because they knew India had beautiful flowing rivers. So when they came to the river that made the border called the Sindhu, they could not pronounce Sindhu, they should say Hindu. So this is how the term Hindu has come about. But we are not Hindus, we are followers of Sanatan Dharma or Vanashrama Dharma. Sanatan Dharma, Sanatan means eternal and Dharma means your occupation or your activity. So when you look at your life now, you're always a servant. You'll serve your family at home, you go to work, you'll serve your company or your boss, you'll serve your social network of friends, you'll serve your government, you'll pay them tax, you'll serve yourself. You'll eat some nice food, hear some nice music, watch a nice movie, smell some nice incense. You're always a servant. So this is Sanatan Dharma, that we are eternally a servant of Lord Krishna. We, the Atma, or the soul, is eternally a servant of Lord Krishna. Therefore, everyone follows Sanatan Dharma. Whether you're a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, whatever. Everyone is doing service. So we are all followers of Sanatan Dharma. It doesn't mean if you're a Christian you're not doing service. If you're a Muslim you're not doing service. Everyone is doing service. So Sanatan Dharma means we are eternally a servant of Lord Krishna or God. So here we find the original name of India, which is Bharat. And even it's in the constitution of India today. Bharat is the name of India, and it's a name given by the British. Over the last 1,000 years, India has become, it was invaded, it became subjugated, and as a result, a lot of harm was brought by the Mughals and the British to the Vedic culture. We are very fortunate to read these books of Srila Prabhupada, because we are receiving this knowledge way before there was these invasions on the Vedic culture and attacks on the Vedic culture. So we should all take advantage of these books, as we will hear now how Prabhupada is instructing this predominantly white audience at the Wits University in Johannesburg. Prabhupada continues. So the problem of life is discussed here by Rishabdev. He says, my dear boys, Nayam deho deha bhajam niloke kastam kamam arhate vit bhujam ye ayam. Prabhupada saying, ayam means this body, this human form of body. It is also a body, and the dog's body is also a body, material body. It is also made of blood and bone and urine and stool and so many other things. The dog's body is also made of the same ingredients. Just consider our position. When we think we are this body, the same things are inside the body of the animals as well. This is a point that Prabhupada is bringing out. Prabhupada continues, and then he explains, when we understand that we are not this body, then what do we do? Prabhupada continues, so does this mean that human life also will be utilized for this purpose? Generally the animals are simply after sense gratification. And here we see Prabhupada saying, no, that is his advice. This is not meant for wasting our time and living like the lower animals, cats and dogs and hogs. Then what is it meant for? He says, tapo divyam. Tapo divyam. My dear boys, this body is meant for tapo, austerity. Austerity, that is austerity. Divyam, to realize God. Perform austerity and realize God. That is the whole Vedic principle, that human body, human society should be trained intelligently in such a way that he can understand God. That is the goal of life. In the Vedanta Sutra, those who are philosophically advanced, they might have studied the Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra. So here Prabhupada is making a very nice point. What is our purpose in human life? Tapo divyam. Tapo is austerity, and divyam, to realize God. And how do we realize God? That is given by Srila Prabhupada himself. What we are doing now, chanting Hare Krishna, hearing from his books. We're going to be taking prasadam. Later on we might be singing and dancing. This is the austerity that we need to perform. Singing, dancing. Same thing you'll do Saturday night at a party. Singing, dancing, eating, but you cannot get up the next morning. But when we do it in Krishna consciousness, it's so easy. We get up at 3 in the morning and we come into the temple and we're doing the same thing, singing and dancing. So this is tapo divyam, performing austerity. Divyam means to realize Krishna. This is what Prabhupada is saying. And again, you understand, he's not preaching to Indian audience at the Wits University. He's preaching to mainly the white South Africans at that time, who were so engrossed in the bodily conception of life, because they were under the impression that they were superior to others. They could go anyway, do anything, but the Indians, Africans, colors, this is your area, you work this way and you go back home, things like that. But the whites were under this impression that they were superior. And it was all in the, as Prabhupada said, this black and white business is nonsense. It's all on the bodily concept of life. Prabhupada continues by explaining. So the first aphorism of the Brahma Sutra is Atato Brahma Jignasha. Now this human life is there. We've got it by nature's law. There are 8,400,000 different types of life, transmigration or evolution. And he quotes a verse from the Padma Purana. Jalaja Nava Lakshani Stavara Laksha Vimsati Kriyamayo Rudra Shankyaka Pakshinam Dasha Lakshanam. He explains, this verse explains that there are 900,000 different types of life in water or the aquatics. And then from aquatics to plants and trees, there are 2 million forms. Then insects, different insects, 1,100,000. Then birds, 1 million different forms. Then bees, 3 million different forms. In this way, there are 8 million, and the human being is 400,000 species of life. So much information is given in the Vedic scriptures. So in this way, it makes up 8,400,000 different types of species of life. It simply means 8,400,000 different types of coverings for the spirit soul. Just like now this human form is a covering for the Atma of the spirit soul. Then there's the covering of the aquatics, plants, trees, birds, reptiles, animals, human beings, high human beings. These are all coverings for the Atma or the spirit soul. Prabhupada continues. So out of that, the civilized man, the best form of human body, is meant for this purpose. Tapo divyam putraka yena shudyat satvam. That, my dear boys, you should not waste your time simply for finding out the necessities of this body and work very hard day and night and forget your own business. What is that own business? Self-realization. What I am, this is called own business. Sometimes you're told, mind your own business, isn't it? So, what is my business? Self-realization or Krishna consciousness. And am I this body or something else? We can understand that I am not this body, because as soon as you leave this body, this soul, the spirit soul, it is nothing but a lump of matter. What happens to this body when it dies? it's cremated and turned into ashes, or it's buried and it becomes a feast for worms, isn't it? So Prabhupada is saying, if we live under the conception that I am this body, then the Shastra, Vedic literature condemns you, then you are no better than the cats and dogs, because they also live under the bodily concept of life. So this is Prabhupada preaching very, very strongly to people who are very strongly in the body concept of life. Prabhupada continues, and okay. Yeah. So this is the final paragraph. Prabhupada makes some wonderful statements here which we should hear very carefully and try and follow this. Again, he is speaking to a predominantly white audience at the University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg. Prabhupada is saying, so our Krishna consciousness movement is reminding the whole human society, don't lose this chance of getting a human body. You must properly utilize it. And how is it utilized? That is stated here by Rishabdev. Thapo divyam putraka yena sattvam sudhyat. Sattvam, our existence is now polluted. Therefore, we are getting this material body and changing this material body. And as soon as we get a material body, then our miserable condition begins. In this material world, no one can say that there is no miserable condition. And in full miserable condition, it is full miserable condition. So Prabhupada ends with his final instruction, probably for South Africa, while he was here at the Wits University in Johannesburg. So Prabhupada is saying, or he is ending, so I have been lecturing for about half an hour or 45 minutes. It is not possible to explain all the Vedic intelligence in this short space of time. But we are distributing these books. I request you all to read these books, to read all these books as far as possible and take advantage. Such wonderful instruction by Prabhupada. Do not spoil your life simply for meeting the necessities of this body, just like the cats and dogs. It is not required. The real business is to realize yourself. That is Tapo Divyam. The Shastras say, don't bother yourself about the necessities of life. That is already there. Settled. You will get it. Depend on the supplier of the necessities of life. The supplier of necessities of life is Krishna or God. That is the description of the Vedic literature. So this is probably the final instructions of Prabhupada to South Africans, because he spoke this verse, and as we've read during his visit to South Africa, he was mainly speaking on the Bhagavad Gita. But after the 5th canto came by air freight, there's wonderful pictures of Prabhupada at the house in Yeovil, looking at the 5th canto. And it also explains how when they got that house, they changed the tiles, and those tiles, there's a nice picture of the tiles as well in Muller Street, Johannesburg, Yeovil. And Prabhupada was in ecstasy in getting the 5th canto. So on that night, the same day, he spoke for the first time in South Africa on the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we were able to hear Prabhupada. It's like a South African purport to this verse. These books, Prabhupada said, are the law books for the next 10,000 years. And the purports will all be the same for the next 10,000 years. But we here in South Africa, we have the special purport, very special purport. This lecture by Srila Prabhupada at the University of Wits University in Johannesburg. So I'm just going to read a final verse. It's a quote from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we can take guidance from here. This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, very famous verse. First canto, chapter 3, verse 43. This Bhagavat Purana is as brilliant as the sun. It has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in this age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. So we should all consider ourselves that we have lost our vision. And Prabhupada is giving us this light. He is giving us the Srimad Bhagavatam, where we can get light. Here in South Africa, we always experience the lights going out, isn't it? We have to light a candle or a torch or on our phone. So that is not real light. That is some temporary light. So we don't fall down or whatever the case. But here in this verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in this age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. When we are born with this human form of life, there are 4 defects. We make mistakes, we have the propensity to cheat, we have imperfect senses, and we become illusioned. And the greatest illusion is to think we are this body. So we find also this is a very prominent theme at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, how we are not these bodies. And Bhagavad Gita is considered the ABCD of spiritual understanding. But again we find in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a much more advanced scripture, the same point is coming up. How we are not these bodies. We are the soul, the Atma living within the body. And we can understand, here we find, what is the central point? Tapo Divyam. Tapo is austerity and Divyam means to practice Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, we'll take one question. Of course, you can always see me later. There's many questions. Why must we suffer in this life for our past karma? Yes. Now, we have no choice. If there's anything else, sometimes you will wonder why one child is born with a golden spoon in its mouth. Amshlanga or somewhere, Balita or wherever. And one child, immediately when it's born, its mother throws the child away. It's karma and reincarnation. Karma is your actions. As you sow, so shall you reap. And most of our actions are forgetful of Lord Krishna. Therefore it is sinful. And reincarnation is the Atma, the soul is simply transmigrating from one body to another. We are changing bodies. So, therefore, because we are forgetful of Krishna, we are sinful. And therefore, for sinful life, we have to suffer. No one can escape it. Therefore, we should learn what is this karma. And we are fortunate to have these books. Prabhupada has translated each and every word from Sanskrit to English. He's made it very, very seriously. And as we read in his lecture in Johannesburg, he's saying, I cannot tell you everything. There's not enough time, but we've given these books. You read it and you take advantage of it. See? So this is the whole point. Forgetful of Krishna, it leads to suffering conditions, sinful life, and then suffering reactions. So we must suffer. Sometimes the suffering is good, because after we get a few hard knocks in life, we will wake up. So please take advantage of these books that Srila Prabhupada and read them, and in this way enrich your own lives. And of course the main thing is also try to share it with others. That will give you more pleasure than anything else. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for that very enlightening class. I'm sure everyone found it very inspiring. Dear devotees, we do have a few announcements before Aarti starts. Just a reminder that Srila Prabhupada's book marathon is officially live. For more information or to participate, please contact Radharaman Prabhu. Radhanath's Gifts will be having a Black Friday sale from the 28th to the 30th of November. The advent of the Bhagavad Gita, Gita Jayanti week, begins on Monday the 24th of November, where there will be a class every day here at Sri Sri Radharadhanath covering all 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Following that, there will be a Gita Jayanti program on Monday the 1st of December. The temple community has also been invited by the Chatsud CPF for a candlelight vigil on Tuesday at 7 p.m. at the Chatsud Car Park Stadium in support of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Today's love feast has been lovingly prepared by the Potchepston Namahata, headed by His Grace Priyavrata Prabhu and his team. We will now observe Aarti and Kirtan in a few minutes. Hare Krishna.
Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine.
Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi
Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bastadya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan, Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan, Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan, Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan, Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan, Jaya Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan, Jaya Radhe. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Radhanath, Radha, Radhanath, Shri Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari. Netai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parivrajikacharya Astoto Srimad Abhayacharanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parivrajikacharya Astoto Srimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramamsa Parivrajikacharya Astoto Srimad His Divine Grace Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki. Prem se Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Ki. Shri Nitai Gaura Hari Ki. Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Nilachal Jagannath Puri Dham Ki. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki. Vrindavan Mayapur Dham Ki. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Pralade lade daine. Pralade lade daine. Kanyakasi Purvaksa. Hiranyakasi Purvaksa. Silatankana Kalaye. Silatankana Kalaye. Ito nishingo parato nishingo. Yato yato yamitato nishingo. Ye nishingo rida ye nishingo. Pahe nishingo rida ye nishingo. Narsinghamadim saranam prapade. Narsinghamadim saranam prapade. Tavakara Kamalavare Naga Adbhuta Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tano Bringa Keshavadisha Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadita Narari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Nishingadev, Nishingadev, Narsingadev, Jaya Nishingadev. Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad. Nishikadev Bhagavan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Nitai Go Premanande.